Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Arkham Draft and Die, where the death toll keeps mounting, and we suffered a pretty ridiculous defeat in the last round of the Dunwich Legacy. I've lost three in a row and appropriately resigned, leaving both Zoe and Jim to their deaths. We then drafted two of the best investigators in the 15 investigators we have available, Rex Murphy and Nathaniel Cho. And today is going to be about drafting those two and taking them into their first round of Dunwich Legacy. I'm not sure exactly who we're going to go after yet. We're going to have to make a decision whether we want Professor Warren Rice to help Rex Murphy with his fairly low book score, or if we want Nathaniel Cho to help Nathaniel with his fairly high fight value. I think both are going to be fine, Francis or Warren, but we'll probably end up going for the Miskatonic, or not the Miskatonic, the first part of the Dunwich Legacy first, which is, I believe, extracurricular activity. Regardless, let's see how Rex's deck shakes out first. So, drafting myriad adds 3. Card select from 3. We got everything we need to return 2 sets. These are the cards that we have access to at the moment. And with that, let's go ahead and get it started. All right, Rex Murphy can take level 0 cards. So that's going to be exciting. Rise to the occasion. Commit only to a skill test you are performing, and only if the difficulty of the test is at least 2 higher than your base skill value. So we have a couple of odd things going on here. Grit Your Teeth is interesting because our star effect allows us to fail the skill value, the skill test, and get a bunch of cards, which is, like if we play a Grit Your Teeth after that, which we can do even if we draw the 3 cards, then we get an additional bonus skill value to the remaining draws that we're doing. On the other hand, a lot of what Rex is going to be doing is trying to succeed tests spectacularly as opposed to trying to fail tests for cards. But the main issue here is that none of these cards are good. I think that Rise to the Occasion is a pretty strong card in some hard skill tests, because if you're just having like a lot of difficulty with these tests, then you might end up in a lot of trouble. Notably, it does give us 3 question marks for any 5 will test, which there are a couple of in Dunwich, and it also might give us some bonuses on any like extra speed tests. I don't know that we ever test 5 speed, but we do test 5 will fairly consistently on I think sorceries or something like that, which are in about 4 or 5 of the 8 scenarios in Dunwich. So Rise to the Occasion could be good on that respect. Grit Your Teeth, on the other hand, very consistently good in Stella Clark specifically, not really anywhere else. It gives you a mild bonus to your skills for an entire round, which is good, except you have to fail the skill test first, which means you only get it for 2 skills, meaning it's the equivalent of Unexpected Courage in value, except it doesn't give you guaranteed skill tests on either. Succeeding by a lot is something that Rex really needs to do. I think Rise to the Occasion is fine. It's not amazing, but it should be okay here. Dark Horse. Dark Horse seems worth trying. You don't have to not gain resources, which is usually a strong choice. It gives us a lot of extra stats, which is also very good. Like extra book, if we're casting like a bunch of skills out. I don't know that I'm not going to have a lot of resource intensive cards here and just have a hard time with this, but this is active a decent portion of the time, so I feel like it's probably going to be pretty reasonable. If it bleeds is not going to work for Rex. Teamwork is okay. It's actually one of the more interesting draft options, but I think Dark Horse is probably the stronger card here. Okay, Drake Hat is a cheap way to move away from things. Survival Instinct is also a cheap way to move away from things, and moving away from things quickly is actually an important part of Dunwich in general. So we died on the train, which is a place that bad things happen to you. The Hunting Horror is another card that you really want to evade and then get back to investigating really quickly. So if we use Survival Instincts to evade like the Hunting Horror at like 4 or something like that, we immediately disengage from it, and then we also get to move from the to a connecting location on top of the evasion, which that seems good. That actually might be fairly powerful for Rex because he needs to just be investigating. So on the times where he actually has to evade, that's a pretty cool one. Forbidden Knowledge, take a horror to get a resource. This is actually okay for Rex. He's got 9 for his overall sanity stat, which very few characters have 9 horror, but that is just like a really, really strong amount of horror to have. And we can take these resources as we need them, put them on cards. It's probably going to be pretty worth it, and we can also throw it on some soak cards like Dr. Milan. So I feel like Forbidden Knowledge is fine, and Econ is important. Disc of Insomnia, more of that evading enemies as soon as they come out. Really, really strong. Backstab, not really all that interested. I think Disc of Insomnia has proven to be decently strong in these particular formats, and also will be good because we can automatically evade Hunting Horror and the enemy at the back of the train, and mobsters that spawn on us as they stop being aloof. Oh wait, no, that doesn't quite work because they won't have spawned at our location. But it should nonetheless be reasonably powerful. Strange Solution is a hard one. We have to test a 4-book test to draw 2 cards, so it's an action and an action and a book test. And if we succeed, we get 2 extra cards, which is not that great. On the other hand, am I playing Leather Jacket? Maybe. Actually, Leather Jacket I am playing. That's fast and it only costs 2 resources, so yeah, we're grabbing that. We'll think about Strange Solution, because that's one that's pretty likely to come up in the... Oh, it's 4 experience to upgrade, actually. As I recall, all 4 of them are. So even if you get one of them, the chances that you're actually going to get it out of a Dunwich upgrade are pretty rare. And you actually in Dunwich may want to do more small upgrades than do big ones. So Leather Jacket then. We'll take that. Cult Invocation. Not as powerful in this as it is in Rex. I like Emergency Supply quite a bit. Occult Invocation is a great way to fight monsters for Rex, which is good, but Rex also wants those cards to commit to things. I think Emergency Cash is a good way to actually like get some resources up and be able to protect yourself against a bunch of stuff, so that's nice. Manual Dexterity and Disc. Second Disc seems better than Manual Dexterity, but both are fine. We'll go with the Disc. I've got a plan. That's the real Rex card. Seeking Answers is cheap way to investigate. If we're planning to use it with Dark Horse, then it's basically just we gain the resource during upkeep, then we investigate the location we want to investigate, and we get the clue at the connecting location immediately. So that's kind of nice. Doesn't work on the train, doesn't work on most of Miskatonic Museum, doesn't work on... doesn't really work on House Always Wins. Doesn't work on... It does work on some of... It works on a couple of things in extracurricular activity, and it's more helpful in other places too, because you can use it in like the final scenario, but it's pretty meh here. I think I've Got a Plan is definitely the card here. Burning Midnight Oil, that is just insanely strong. Investigate and gain resources. It's the best of the cycle. Really good card. Art Student is 2 resources for a clue. And 2 soak, which is, that's better. We can also put the soak on it for, well, I mean, we can get the resources back because we can spend them with Forbidden Knowledge, but that's kind of pointless. I don't know. It's an interesting combo, but not a good one. Strange Solution is just a bad card to have in our deck, I think, overall. But the upgrade could be worth it if we actually identify it, and Rex is not the best at identifying, but it's worth a question mark, so yeah, sure, we'll commit it. Forbidden Tome, absolutely not. Barricade. Hunting Horror's elite. Big enemy at the back of the train is elite. The Curator, pretty sure it's elite. Do I want another Strange Solution, honestly? They're worth question marks, so easy discards, but not amazing otherwise. All right. Inquiring Mind. Skill test only if there's a clue at your location. That one's very good, and it's also a great one for Rex. Pretty happy with that. William T. Mellison, working on something big. He's not a Dr. Milan Christopher by any means, but he is a cheap source of damage and horror soak. Seleno Fragments is good here if we're playing hand size, which Rex is pretty happy with most of the time. It's also 1 for a book, typically, which is a cheap way to get a tome going. It's not quite magnifying glasses, but it's probably something you really want to hold in your hand slot. We don't have any allies yet, so Malison is certainly something, but you have to get rid of your clues to do stuff with him. I think he's a powerful card, and I think that Health Soak would be nice for Rex, but Rex actually has 6 health for no reason, so Seleno Fragments might be better. We'll go with that. Guts, we like it. Burning Midnight Oil, we like it more. Seleno Fragments, Inquiring Mind again. This time I think we take Inquiring Mind, because skills I think are just important for Rex to pick up the most clues. Magnifying Glass, that's a key Rex card. I've Got a Plan is also key, but we want the magnifying glass first. Milan Christopher, there we go. Milan Christopher 2. Oh, and deduction. Ooh, that's a tough one. So if you have to decide between deduction and Milan Christopher 2, Rex already has deduction. Like that is natural power. So if he moves onto a location that's 1 times the number of investigator clues, he just gets that clue, as long as he's got extra books, which Dr. Milan gives him. So I think Milan Christopher values out deduction, but whew, it's close. Find close. Reduce the difficulty of parlay tests. Pretty cheap, notably. And there's some parlay tests that are pretty important in this one. Let's see here. Who are the major parlays? You have to parlay with Francis Morgan and House Always Wins. You have to parlay with nobody in Miskatonic, nobody in Essex County Express. I don't think you have to parlay with anybody in Blood on the Altar. If we knew what our weakness was right now, I'd take it, but I can't think of anything that we ran into in the first 5 scenarios that was super high on parlay, except for Warren Rice, who we're not terribly likely to find if it's late. I think we don't even get to find him if it's late. So if we decide to go to scenario 1A, we don't take Find Close at all, which means Preposterous Sketches or Lab Assistant. Sketches seems fine. Lab Assistant is also fine. Again, Lab Assistant is like an interesting option to soak some horror, which is a good way to use our forbidden knowledge. And also draws us cards, which is nice. I'll go with that. Smoking Pipe, heal horror, take damage. No, we need the opposite. Flashlight, it's okay. Reduces the shroud value, which is generally pretty reasonable. I'd take that. Magnifying glass, deduction. Oh, okay. Magnifying glass, I think, in this case. Once again, use our natural deduction, get deduction second. But we really want those deductions. I'd really like to get those offered in something that isn't a book booster. Unexpected Courage, beat those everything tests. I've got a plan, kill monsters. Manual Dexterity again. Dodge enemies. I'm pretty into that. Yeah, I think evasion is just actually really valuable in this one, and we don't get enough opportunities to do it. Higher education is okay, but we have like a lot of like low resource cards that we're going to be playing. I think perception is most important here, and higher education is like, man, I don't know. You really do need to be able to spend resources to get bonuses, but Dark Horse is kind of doing that for us, so let's do perception. Well, I guess without higher education, Dark Horse is actually worse because we can't spend those resources. Interesting. Working a hunch, testless clues, good times. Painkillers, yeah, heal horror, take horror to heal damage, that seems better. It's not much better. Kukri, on the other hand, is also not good, so. Seleno fragments again. We've got plenty of things in our hands, we don't need any more. Art student, I don't see why not. Maybe we'll get like Miskatonic University funding or something. Mind over matter's strong. It's not that strong here. I think I'm actually more into hyper awareness. That gives us reliable resource spending without the higher education requirement, and mind over matter is like for fighting, which the thing about it is that we fight at 4 and we dodge at 4, and we're already at 2 and 3 with those stats, so it's like a pretty minor boost for 1, and I just don't think it's going to be worth it here. It is okay if we want to evade, which I think is kind of nice, but hyper awareness will help with that too, so that's what it is. Okay, didn't get a single deduction, but did get quite a few things that I did need, including a high amount of skills to actually pass Rex's tests, including Unexpected Courage, Rise to the Occasion, Inquiring Mind, like just a lot of like really strong question mark symbols. Having like this many just question mark symbols is like, it's relevant on the train, which is the one that we just failed. But beyond that, yeah, it's sort of okay. Okay, so Rex's Curse. When you succeed at a skill test, you have to reveal a new token. If you fail, Rex's Curse comes back. Wow, rough. That's a bad one. I don't like it. It's a pretty nasty weakness. What's the basic weakness? Reckless. Okay, Commit only to a skill test you are performing. There is no other test cards committed to it. Well, the two work together. No, wait, no. If the test fails, the two work apart. It's not arrogance. It's reckless. Okay. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, considering how much we want to succeed at skill tests, that's a pretty rough one. But draft for Dunwich. Okay. Still, by and large, pretty good. We did okay. Let's do Nathaniel Cho next. Start. Vicious Blow, Dynamite Blast, Fine Close. Okay, so we're off to a good start already. I think we always take Vicious Blow. It's just too strong not to. Dynamite Blast is very, very good for Nathaniel, but it is not a spirit. It is an event that deals a huge amount of damage to enemies. We're going to go with Vicious Blow here. Monster Slayer is insanely strong. It's not upgraded B Cup is not the same as upgraded B Cup. I don't think it's super worth it. I would much rather have Monster Slayer. Bandolier is kind of nice for Nathaniel because then I can use guns, but yeah, that seems like a lot of work. I'd much rather have Greet Wagner, who is a classic Nathaniel card. Okay, leadership. So bonus 2 question marks for Rex. 3 on Will, but it's otherwise pretty bad. I can't commit it unless I'm standing at Rex's location. But I'm also not playing First Aid or Knife, so leadership it is. Overpower. That's really strong. Get over here. That's also really strong. We really, really want to pass fight tests, so that's important. But Get Over Here is a card that we need to kill Will-o'-the-Wisps, and also a card that we need to kill enemies with Nathaniel. So Get Over Here is fine. Perception? It's okay. Safeguard's much better. Monster Slayer, Stand Together, ooh, both good. Stand Together is, for my money, like one of the best cards. Monster Slayer deals 3 damage to enemies, which is great. I think we want Stand Together here. Stand Together again, absolutely. Vicious Blow again, absolutely. So far, so strong. Counterpunch, that's a good Nathaniel card. Emergency Cache is also very strong. Both Guardians generally need a lot of resources. Nathaniel less than most. So Emergency Cache is really, really good for us. And Counterpunch is also one of Nathaniel's weaker cards. So it's possible we take Emergency Cache here instead of a Spirit, especially since we don't have Boxing Gloves yet. I'm inclined to take the Emergency Cache. There's Boxing Gloves. Overpower, yep. Yeah, every pair of Boxing Gloves we can get is just a huge bonus for Nathaniel. That is like the main thing that we need to fight enemies. Blackjack is surprisingly good in Dunwich, I feel like, or in hard mode. Like, the more... But Nathaniel has to fight with other skills a lot more often, so it's not really going to work for me. Teamwork is fine. Is there anything that we can really trade with teamwork? What does Rex have? I don't think there's much. Like, the one thing I could see that would be okay would be I could trade Dark Horse. Because if Rex plays Dark Horse and then gives it to Nathaniel, Nathaniel's suddenly good at everything, as long as he's actually spending his resources on playing events. But like if he decides not to gain anything and then attacks with Monster Slayer, it's kind of a neat thing. The other options are Blackjack and First Aid, both of which are like, eh. First Aid is like average. It's pretty action inefficient, but it is a good way to heal stuff, and dying to trauma has been an issue. We don't have anything else that really helps here, so that might be worth it, especially since, oh, no, Nathaniel does have 9 and 6. That's good numbers. I think I'd rather have the teamwork, but it's really interesting. Okay, 1-2 punch, one of Nathaniel's strongest cards. Unexpected Courage is also very good. Second Boxing Gloves. Ooh, yeah. We're off to a good start. B-Cup's another way to get fight and also to kill Will-o'-the-Wisp, so that matters a little bit less. Smoking Pipe is kind of nice because we can put damage on us to heal horror, and that's like way better than the First Aid, which we didn't take. I think I consistently underestimate B-Cup, but I also still really don't like B-Cup. Most of our events are pretty light right now. I could probably pay B-Cup and just get that extra boost and be happy with it. Getting actual stat bonuses is very good, so we'll take it here. Evidence, yep. Monster Slayer and Clean Them Out, both amazing. Clean Them Out is our resource generation. We want that. 1-2 punch. Yep. Is that our second? Hoo-hoo-hoo. Looking good. Taunt and Teamwork are both tactics, but not spirits. Taunt is better than Teamwork, but neither is especially strong. And Flesh Ward allows us to take less horror from attacks dealt to us, assuming we have the time and space to set it up, which we very rarely do. I'm not a big fan of Flesh Ward because Guardians just never seem to have a chance to play it. Like, we have decent resources here, 2 stand-togethers, a Clean Them Out, and a emergency cache. So, but I also have expensive allies, Great Wagner and B-Cop, and expensive weapons with boxing gloves. Taunt saves us from a lot of things, but I think Flesh Ward is probably the better card. Get over here. Yay. Dodge, another tactic, cancels attacks, which is nice. Can be good. Greet number 2. Absolutely into that. Better than Beat Cup. Good ally in general. Teamwork again, evidence again. I'd really like to stop getting teamworks offered to me. Please, please stop. Physical training seems right. I don't think if it bleeds is actually all that good. Prepare to be the worst is nice because it gets us our boxing gloves, but so does Randall Cho, and so we've already got a decent amount of seeking. I'd much rather have more spirits. Counterpunch is a spirit, Clean Them Out is a spirit. Clean Them Out is really good. Emergency Aid heals damage. I've had some good luck with Emergency Aid, but it was in a Mark Harrigan deck where we just needed to heal damage all the time. I'd much rather have Overpower here. Prepare for the worst. Get your boxing gloves. Smoking Pipe. Heal your horror and damage. I think Smoking Pipe is better here. Leadership again versus Perception, where we could like investigate. Perception's nice because we can actually commit it to like Rex's skill tests, but we can do that with leadership as well. So I don't know. I'm gonna commit to Rex's skill tests. Maybe I actually want to commit leadership. I'll take the leadership. Haunted. Add to your threat area, you get -1 to each of your skills, 2 to discard. So that's very bad, but it is 2 actions to get rid of, so it's fairly simple to deal with at least. It would be nice if we had some way to really get rid of it, but I think we are in for what we're in for. So export, and with that, we've got our draft done. That was a pretty simple and quick one. So I think we're going to jump into the game, and we'll see how it goes.